For this Quality and Practice Minute, I'd like to talk about a quality philosophy that I've implemented over the years. So first, a little background on quality. Quality is based on essentially three principles. Number one is protecting customers from variation and defects. Number two is preventing problems that can lead to those defects. Number three is using disciplined problem solving and process improvement methodologies to accomplish the first two. In this talk, I'd like to introduce a fourth principle, a psychological principle based on a broken windows theory. And this is community partnership based on the broken windows theory. So a little bit about the broken windows theory. Broken windows is a criminology theory that has been around for nearly 40 years. It was first introduced by James Q. Wilson and George L. Kelling. The most famous application of broken windows that you may be familiar with was in the late 90s and early 2000s in New York City, where they first applied it in the subway police organization and then generally across New York City police. And the application of the broken windows theory in New York actually led to an unintended side effect in that they discovered by applying the broken windows theory in communities that they were apprehending folks for petty crimes who were wanted for more serious crimes and maybe in other parts of the city. So that wasn't the intent of that. However, it was a side effect. So broken windows is a community policing strategy. It really involves two elements. Number one is community involvement. So the folks in the community have to care about their community and the health of the community that they live in. And then police partnership. And police partnership is intended to de-escalate, demystify the relationship between the law enforcement community and the community themselves. So they can trust each other, they learn who each other is and what their motivations are, and they are more likely to partner to maintain the community in an acceptable state. So the way the theory goes is that community standards may deteriorate over time. You have some bad actors who come into the community. They see, they do minor things. They litter, they loiter, they harass residents, they may tag, buildings or break windows or whatever the case may be. Admittedly, minor activity. But if the community overlooks this minor activity, that sends a message that it's a permissive environment and the community leaders are not going to stand in the way of folks who may want to commit more serious crimes. So the community becomes less safe. Escalation of the bad behavior to more serious stuff like robbery and murder and breaking and entering and all of those sorts of things might be the result. And as a result of that, the residents in that community feel afraid. They don't open their doors, they don't open their windows, they keep their shades drawn, and they withdraw because the community is not safe. So the broken windows theory says that if the community gets out there and aggressively pursues these minor infractions, these minor bad behaviors in partnership with law enforcement, that sends a message to the other actors in the community that this is not a permissive environment. I already talked about the interesting side effect that petty criminals tended to be wanted for more serious crimes. This was not the intent of the program, however, it was a realized benefit. So I believe this psychology applies to manufacturing as well. So folks who are charged with the quality responsibility in your manufacturing environment, they need eyes and ears They need their reach to exceed their grasp, is the way I like to say that, and they need to do that by creating partnerships. Build partnerships with key influence leaders within the manufacturing environment, educate them on the quality mindset and the reasons why those quality standards need to be enforced, and then ask for assistance and partnership. So, not being vigilant about the little things gives permission to not focus on the big things. And the slippery slope that I talked about earlier in the community example, that behavior does exist in the manufacturing plant, where if we don't focus on the little quality issues, that sends a message to the other members of the manufacturing staff that says this is a slippery slope and these things may not matter, and so bigger and bigger things may happen in the future. So the broken windows theory applied to quality is about creating partnerships based on understanding of the importance of standards, educating the key influence leaders on why those quality standards matter, and the best way to give context to that is from the voice of the customer, from the point of view of the customer. And then finally is to ask those influence leaders for help with enforcement. So hopefully you found this introductory talk thought-provoking and helpful to you on your journey. And join me again next week for another installment of the Quality and Practice Minute. Thank you.